Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of the Bro Science podcast today. Unfortunately, two of us. Martin is headed on a trip out to Portugal. Who would have guessed? Sounds fun. Sounds fun though. I wish I was part of it. To be honest, he's left us. What do you think, Chavi?
Um, I think Chile is pretty good where you are. Uh, I've been pretty happy with that, but
But I mean, it's a road trip to Portugal, man.
it's a
I've, I've been. I mean, sounds
road trip
incredible.
to Portugal sounds unreal.
A road trip to Portugal. Sad. Anyways, it's just the two of us, me and Charlie. Um, and yeah, we got a nice little topic that popped into my head a few days ago. Um, I have like a prompted message of for the topic, so I can introduce it correctly.
Mm.
Um, I typed it down. But this episode has a little twist to it, which I'll let you know
Oh,
in a bit. So this is the way it's gonna go. I'm gonna read the prompt. I'm gonna get your opinion on the prompt and like your feed or your perspective.
yeah.
And finally, I'll let you in on what the little twist is. How does that sound?
Okay, I'm ready for a twist.
Good, great.
Great.
Um, the topic of today, Javi, is the evolving perception of success.
Wow.
Will our definition change in the future? Success means different things to different people, and our perception of it can shift over time. In this discussion, we'll explore what success means to us today and whether we anticipate that definition changing in the future. Let's dive into our personal experiences and explore how societal and cultural factors impact our views on success.
Wow, that's
I've always wanted to know your opinion on this, so
this is the
great.
thickest question ever. The societal and cultural
And
factors.
this popped into my head while j- well, it was like a bounce off the or it bounced off my head after the last episode where we were
Yeah.
thinking about mindsets and setting goals and knowing what you want in life to later assign your role models adapted to your goals. But then how do you measure success has to be tied with what your goals are,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, man, this is so relevant to me right now. Um, because I guess 23, you're just starting the working life, you're just starting to get some vision for your future, where you want to head, what you want to do. And I think I get so caught up in this grand vision where I often forget what I actually believe success is, you know. Because to me personally, like I really don't need that much money, or I really don't need, like, I'm not a material person. Um, and that doesn't really have much of a hold of success. Um, really, success to me is, it has to do with like enjoyment of life, I think, which is for everyone. I think everyone's trying to enjoy their life, and that's the measure stick of success. And then I guess the follow up question is that from that is, how do you enjoy your life? How do you, yeah, really, um, really love it? And well, for me, enjoyment comes out of the relationships that you have with people. I think that really deep and meaningful relationships with people that I love is success. Um, and it's interesting that I think that's success, but I spend so much time trying to build up myself in terms of a career, in terms of my capabilities, in terms like, trying to get strong at the gym. Like, why? Really, like,
Why? Why? Yeah, man, why? Like, um, it's funny to see how different people get fulfillment out of different things. You mentioned money earlier. Um, an example that's been in my mind for a while now is I don't know, seeing people that get so much fulfillment out of posting that Instagram story in the beach or that's what I think from an outsider's perspective. Like I think, oh, they must be getting so much fulfillment out of uploading that one story. I imagine that's why they do it, and I imagine that their
Mm.
success, or they see it as that they are being successful by uploading that story, whereas I wouldn't get that urge of uploading that story. I mean, I'm not by any means criticizing the uploading of a story that you're in the beach, but instead, just to me, it like opens my eyes to how I get maybe a different kind of fulfillment from that because it doesn't even um pop into my mind to
Mm.
post the story in the first place. Um, but instead,
Yeah. There's
like
so
you
much
mentioned,
more to the
I get a lot of
psychology of
fulfillment.
posting, I think.
Yeah,
There's so
yeah,
much
yeah,
more to that.
yeah.
I don't know if you're that's an inch. I don't know if you're really fulfilled. I mean, I guess then why are you doing it?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Well, let me fill you in on what the little twist to this episode is. The whole prompt I read to you, as you could probably guess if I gave you a few tries. It was written by ChatGPT. I've
Actually,
been, yeah, I've been stuck on ChatGPT for the past few weeks. The past week, I mean, ever since Sunday that I broke my my knee, I've been stuck home, and then I've been chatting with ChatGPT's been making me company. I had some schoolwork, which it very kindly agreed to support me in. Um,
good.
it was all coding. It was incredible to see how it helped me so much. Um, but then yeah, I asked it about this topic, and I just wanted to make it clear that for this episode, it'd be fun if when we reach a certain, I don't know, point in which we can't agree some reason, or we would like to know more. I think it'd be interesting to ask ChatGPT
What it
um
thinks.
what it thinks. Yeah, but the thing is, you need to ask it good questions. Could it? Because it could really branch out, or
Mm,
give you a very generalized answer. So if we
mm.
come up with a very like specific concept which we would like to know more of, um, it'd be interesting to have it as a tool, as a method, as support, which is what the future is going to be like.
Yeah, right.
Just using AI to support and deepen our conversations and work.
Mm.
Just a thought. Have you
That's
used it at
sick.
all?
ChatGPT, little philosopher. Man.
Mm. Have you used it at all?
Yeah, I
ChatGPT?
have. I have, but not like I did some marketing things with my dad. Um, that's about it, really. I just in my
Did it
day-to-day
help you a
use
lot?
so far, yeah, it did. It did actually help heaps. In my day-to-day use so far, it's not quite relevant yet. I mean, because it can't
Right.
do everything. It's not God,
Yeah.
like let's say I'm building some intranet software for my company. Um, and it won't be able to do anything. It won't be able to help me.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the only thing I could like it's because it's on Excel. So like
Hmm.
the only thing I can imagine doing with it is asking it, oh, how to do this, how to do that. And it's
Which
not that's not what ChatGPT is great at, you know?
well, Microsoft announced that last week, I believe, that they'd be integrating um ChatGPT into their Microsoft services.
Microsoft, but aren't
Yeah.
they haven't they got their own AI
They're
they're
big
building?
shareholders of no, that's Google. They have Bard. Microsoft's a big shareholder of ChatGPT.
Wild.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, no, it's Excels are going to be made by AI, and we're going to slowly see how the interface of Excel and these softwares start getting less and less descriptive and more about inputting prompts into the software. You're going to be able to make a PowerPoint presentation probably by just chatting with the bot and asking for it to like um, assign a certain color palette for that's appropriate for this type of presentation, and I need 10 slides of this. That's what we're headed towards.
Wow, that's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
have a
much.
presentation on Monday, and my plan was to like, chat the whole weekend with ChatGPT. That's what my life's been, man. Just ChatGPT's my buddy, man.
Is it
But
working?
I'm not sure it's helped me as much, or I'm not sure it has saved me as much time as it has taken away from me,
Hmm.
because I've also been like a bit of a nerd in how much I've read about artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. So a lot of my time has been spent on like understanding what it's about instead of like using it to support me. Uh,
Right. Okay.
for
But
now, for
I don't
now.
know, like
Yeah.
that's such like a foundation block. And then once you get the foundations right, you get good to go.
Yeah. You need to understand it. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy how this thing works. Um, just imagine that what it's doing. Have you chat with it? Have you tried to have a conversation with the software?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. So what it's doing really, you could really say it's predicting what the best sequence of words is to respond to whatever you asked it. It's
Yeah.
predicting
Yeah.
all the time. That's what machine learning is. It's predicting a sequence of words.
Mm.
And but the way the words are stored and how it accesses it, that's the magic, man. Like
Yeah, that's what I
there's
don't understand. The prediction makes sense. Like how something models and predicts, that makes sense in my head. But the way that it stores information and the way that it accesses
mm,
and finds it, that's what,
bro, there's
like,
so many technical aspects to it, like tokens and sampling and things like that. But if I could summarize it to you, just imagine a 3D graph or a 3D plane in which a lot of words are in there, and that's ChatGPT's database. And if you ask it about cats, it will go towards that 3D like space, go to the point in which it has stored cat, and then try to find near that word um words that tend to go with cat, you know, in how it's learned about cats. It has stored those words near the word cat.
that's crazy.
Um, except it's not a 3D plane. It's 300 um like dimensions. That's how they explained it in a video I watched. It stores in a way that words are in a 300 dimensional like space of storage. It's like
Imagine
so
just
much
being the
information.
inventor of that. Imagine like coming up with the idea.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a
Well,
black box
okay.
and
I reckon
yeah.
this podcast has deviated slightly. Um,
Yeah.
are you afraid of ChatGPT or are you embracing it?
Um
What's your position?
well, well to tie it in with the topic of the podcast, which again is just like a point of start, and then um we can for sure like branch out. And then I think ChatGPT has really made me think about success in life, and like um I wouldn't say I'm afraid at all, no.
Hmm.
um I
Same.
think I yeah, I just yeah, I had this conversation with a good friend of mine that's very into artificial intelligence and things like that, and he was talking to me about how industrial revolutions have always caused a big impact, and how we've always been scared of the outcomes. And it's true. He gave me the example of the guy that pushed the buttons in lifts, in elevators.
Yeah.
That job's not no longer needed. That job's gone. Um, so those people for sure, those people at ChatGPT is capable of doing their exact job, um, then they should be looking out for new opportunities. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, like I don't know. He told me how probably the guy that pushed the buttons in the lift, he also probably had very good social skills because of all the people he met along the way. Like as they were going in and out of the elevator, he probably greeted them, and that was part of his job as well. So it wasn't probably hard for him to transition into another job in which those skills are needed.
Yeah.
Um, Also for we talked about college degrees. Like there's no way we only learn um practical technical skills. Like we're also stuck in like group projects where we learn how to socialize and present, you know, those things are not about technical skills which can be replaced from one day to the other.
Mm,
Are you scared of that?
me? Nah, not at all. Not at all. I'm very firm on the opinion that um, you have to embrace change in all scenarios of life. You know, I think that people want this sense of security that, you know, things how they are now, you know, you can keep that, you can, you know, you got to maintain your health, you got to, I don't know, you got to be comfortable where you're at now. But the thing is, in life, like anything can change at any moment. Like you could, as you, what happened to you, you could tear your ACL, you know, um, in a soccer match, and it just kind of flips upside down a little bit, and you can, I don't know, for me, like a couple of weeks ago, or like two months ago, my best mate passes away. Like things can happen at any moment in life. But if you're not ready to embrace the change that happens to you, you're going to be stuck in a really sad place. You know, you're going to be stuck in the past almost. And I think what keeps people healthy is continually learning and evolving within yourself. Like you see older people that are really healthy, they're happy to learn new things. I mean, maybe not all things. You can't always teach an old dog new tricks, but like, you know, they do want to learn and they do want to, you know, go out there and be active. And so for me, you know, like let's say my current role, I'm starting to work for a financial planner. Will that role of advice services be taken over by ChatGPT? Maybe. But who said I can't learn something where I'm at now that can take me somewhere further, like or new or different, or you just gotta be willing to pivot.
Well, hmm, I see where you're coming from, but let me put you in a scenario. What if you got so much fulfillment from what was the job description you just gave me of what you do?
I like build software for this company on Excel.
Right. Let's say you get a lot of fulfillment from that job and you
Mm,
really enjoy it, man. And it in part has let you shape um your success. I mean, it fulfills you in a sense and you love what you do. Then shouldn't we be asking like why are we creating this machine or tool that is gonna strip people away from things that actually fulfill them? That's I think that's a good question to ask. I mean, it's one thing not to be afraid, but you're
mm,
getting actual fulfillment and purpose from this job, and that's going to happen to a lot of people. Um,
it will look like, yeah, this is tough. You know, like I'm really enjoying my job right now. You know, um, but then it like again, like I really enjoyed the company of my one of my best friends. But you know, I think I'm of the opinion that instead of viewing what you have now as something you're entitled to, you view what you have now as a gift. And because it was given to you and because you were like blessed with it almost, you should be grateful for it. And if it gets taken away, that's okay. Like that's fine. Um, like again, like 3 years ago,
hmm,
like I was so passionate. I was like fully religious, like super passionate about God. Like I wanted to become like a pastor, like a priest, right? That was
hmm,
where I was at in my life. And then some things, you know, some things went against me, and I started not believing in my faith anymore, and that like ruined me. You know that because I put my whole soul into it, and it destroyed me as a person. And I had to re-find everything everything else that I was passionate about, that I loved. And I went through this like period of like existentialism and, you know, like lack of desire. It was so hard. But because I've already gone through that, and maybe this is me being a bit selfish to say that, everyone else should be able to deal with this because I've now gone through it. I think I'll be fine if something gets taken away from me because I know the amount of value you should put on things. That you shouldn't, think that that's your life now. You should, like, outside of your work, you should have a life. Outside of your family, you should have a life. Because what if my parents go to Africa? What if their plane crashes and that's it? They're gone. What if my whole life was them? Like, then my life crumbles. Like, to, I need to like put my eggs in multiple baskets. Um,
Uh,
yeah.
well, man, yeah. Are you then in any way saying that you shouldn't assign maybe like factors outside of yourself to how successful you are in life? Um,
Yeah.
what it sounded like to me was, did you feel like you had to reshape your perception of success when that happened, when you stopped being religious? Like,
Hmm.
did you have to find
Yeah.
another metric?
Yeah. I had to, I don't know, like when I lost that was tough. So tough. Um,
Hmm.
and the weird thing about religion is it's kind of internal, but kind of external at the same time. Like, yeah, there's the people and all that kind of stuff, but like a relationship with God or a faith, whatever you want to call it, is a very internal thing. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say it was external, but I do agree that you can't put all your fulfillment in external things. And the reason why is because your environment can change at any time. Like what we're saying, ChatGPT can remove heaps. Oh, maybe not ChatGPT. Maybe the next evolution of AI, let's be honest, could revolutionize the job industry. Well, I'd ask you the question and be like, since when did your fulfillment come from everything around you and your job and like maybe you're putting too much value on external things, even though they do have a value, but maybe just too much, and maybe you can look inwardly. Like if you look at Taoism, right? Interesting philosophical um, thought ground, right? Taoism kind of proposes that the condition of a human, what they should do is do nearly nothing, which is so countercultural to current American thought and whatever. You need to fight for all these things and you need to keep working all the time and be busy. But Taoism says, no, like you need to nearly do nothing with your life. And fulfillment comes out of the stillness and peace that you have within. What a different perspective. Like potentially it's not the things around you that should be what's fulfilling you. It's your ability to be still within yourself, you know?
Wow.
And that's so countercultural, but I think it's so true. I think you need a balance. I love being busy and I love achieving,
Mm.
that's great. We don't, I'm not saying don't do that, but I think in, you know, in our current culture, there's a lack of an ability to be still and appreciate even when you're not achieving, even when you're not doing. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
What did you say the concept was? How do you spell it?
it's called Taoism. It's a I don't know, I think ancient Chinese philosophy. You
Is
can
it
read it. T
Theo
A
Nissen?
T A O ism.
Wow, man. I'm gonna read up on that. It's whew. How do you know about that?
I was reading a book called, I think it's called The Great War or Great War
Oh
Strategies.
yeah. You've been reading that since a few months
Read-
ago, no?
I stopped reading it, and then it's a tough read.
Yeah,
Um,
you you carried it all over our trip,
I know, and
because
I was like,
every time you
have
saw
you
it, you
seen
said, every time you saw it, you said, I can't open that book for more than 2 minutes, man. Like it's very
Yeah,
complicated, apparently.
It is. It is. I mean, look, beautiful book, but it was annoying. I don't know why I took it with me. It's like a kilo and a half
Yeah,
of
no,
book, man.
yeah,
And I carried it with me around the
oh,
whole of Europe. It was just the
everywhere,
most
man.
rookie move.
You ended up just throwing it every time you took him when you were tired of the book. And
Yeah.
you always read to like fall asleep. That's not a that's not a good book to fall asleep to.
Yeah. It's just like, no,
I
it's okay.
imagine.
It's like you read it. It's like you
It's
be
good.
still, be peaceful. I'm like, oh.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Good. A bit
Uh,
dense.
nah, but
Yo,
yeah.
no, no, yeah. That's really interesting, man. Have you I'm just realizing now the concept of success is it's hard to grasp.
Mm,
Um, it's hard to grasp. Do you feel then, from what you've said, that you've in certain times in life changed your perception of what fulfills you and you measure as success?
absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
mm,
Mm.
I right.
It's just been.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking if I have, um, do you feel like when you've changed your perception of that, do you feel like it's a new stage, a new chapter, a new, do you see it that way?
Mm, no. I haven't really look. Probably it probably is a new chapter, but I haven't consciously thought of that. I think the new chapter kind of ideology. I think that surrounds again the achievement thing. Because when you achieve and when you finish something, you need to create the next chapter. You need to continue the
Mm,
narrative, right? So that's
mm.
again, I think more current cultural thinking. Like, in the Taoism aspect, I'm not saying I also want to come out. I'm not like saying I fully agree with Taoism. It's very extreme and radical, but I think there's
Oh,
something to
oh,
learn
okay.
from it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
no.
in the Taoism aspect, there's no next chapter. There's just the book. There's no
Mm,
I'm continuing and I'm improving and I'm once I do this, then what's next? There's no like I water my garden every day. I
yeah. Oh,
wake up.
what?
I meditate. I I do as less things as I possibly can and I enjoy the peace and stillness of life. And that alone gives me pleasure. But in current culture, it's more like I've
Wow.
reached my goal. I've conquered the social group, and I'm the light in whatever, and the shiner, and or the shining person. And okay, you get that, and then what's next? What's the next chapter in my life? How am I pursuing? How am I growing? How am I developing? That is current thinking. So
Mm,
when you ask me like has your success changed or has your perception of your success changed? I say my perception based on that, like, hasn't changed. The way I perceive success hasn't changed because I too think once I complete something, what's the next chapter? So the way that I think about success hasn't actually changed. It's always been the same. And there's always been that undercurrent of growth and achievement for success
mm,
and fulfillment. That's always been. However, the way that I think I succeed and the goals that I think I need will change over time.
mm, mm.
You know,
Right.
I think that's the most accurate way to say. Yeah, I don't know. How about yourself?
Yeah, I was thinking, man, how about yourself? Um, I'd have to say that my perception of success has always been kind of self-guided, um, meaning that it has guided it by like it's been guided by itself. Like I'm not sure I've consciously, as you said, thought about, all right, this is now my metric of success.
Hmm.
I think from my perspective, it's very much within my education and upbringing. Like I naturally tend to make decisions that that are consistent with what I see very like I do have certain things I want to get to, but more than that, I notice that my actions are very consistent,
Mm,
and that, for example, I've worked in I've worked and volunteered in things that have to do with social impact. Like, and that to me shows that I have a certain tendency, and a certain drive in that sense.
mm,
Um, and I think that's just down and I guess it's funny to think about it that way.
mm,
I think my actions are consistent, and that is my definition of success at the moment. I guess just following my actions one day at a time.
mm.
Um,
See, I think what changes this topic a little bit as well. Oh, it's kind of the same thing, but like I find it fascinating how different things, let's say external or internal, whatever you want to say, um, give people purpose. Or like you, and I've been thinking about this, like in the current way that we do life, your purpose isn't given to you. Your purpose is self-created. Like, I don't, I'm not of the opinion. This is actually a great question. Let's ask the question. Do you think that you create your own purpose or it's an inherent thing inside of you? And okay, no, we'll ask that, and then I got a question after that.
no, I think it's 100% within me. I guess for me, I have a question towards, like, I want to know if people feel the other way. It'd be interesting, like, eh, because purpose, success, goals, in my opinion, they're all tied together.
Mm,
So when people set goals, of course, it comes from an action, um, and they have said it themselves, but it's without a doubt tied to purpose, which, from my perspective, comes from within and
mm.
wasn't like imposed to you or, uh, yeah, or chosen by you, really. That's my
So
perception.
you
I'm
can't.
sure
So
people
okay,
feel it
what
differently.
are you saying that you can't choose your purpose? It's like natural. It's just like there.
I feel like that's my case. I feel like that's my case.
Wow.
Don't you?
No, 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 no.
Well,
I really
come.
do. I totally think it's a balance, and I'm gonna take the freaking Switzerland route. Um, be on both sides of the fence, but I think that's where we find the truth. Like, I think that there's, I think you're born with certain abilities, traits, whatever, that will push you towards a certain way. However, I totally think that the most powerful part of us as humans is our mind. That's what I think. And I think in your mind, you create your own narratives. You create these stories in your head, which you believe and that which influence everything that you do, right? So let's say, I create this story that this girl's for me. And I end up devoting so much time, effort, and everything. And I think I love her. But that's because of this story that's in my head. Is that actually what I'm meant to do? Is it the purpose that has been set out for me in some weird place in my heart? I disagree. I think you've chosen that narrative. I think it's something that pleased you in your mind and you've gone for it. So I think people, they will tell themselves, oh, this is my job and I love this job and this is the only job I could ever love. And because that's the narrative you've told yourself, if Chat GPT is going to replace your job, you're going to be in ruins. You need to learn how to teach yourself healthy narratives, that can help you adapt and change. And like for me, I tell myself every day, not every day, that's such cap. I tell myself that I can adapt and I can embrace change no matter what happens. And if I keep telling myself that, then I'll be okay. Like again, this is a really sad example, but I keep having to bring it up. Like my friend. one of my best mates. I love him to death, right? But even though he passed away, I'm okay. Like I'm not fully broken. And I'm like, why? Why is that? And I thought about that. I'm like, I think it's because I'm
Mm.
prepared. I'm prepared mentally in my narrative to lose things. And I know there's going to be beautiful things in my life I'm going to lose. Like one day I might lose my health. One day I might, I don't know. You can lose anything. But that's, again, that story that you are the author of, that you can change at any point in time. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's a balance of both. Yeah.
I agree, man. I mean, I agree that you have to have tools to face the day-to-day physical aspects, and be able to, um, but in my case in particular, like talking about purely purpose, um, I just think it's within. Like
Really?
you don't change your
You're not
purpose.
creating that
You
purpose?
don't change your your purpose is influenced,
Mm,
maybe by I think like you said you even said the words you said, um they're narratives from your subconscious, you say. I
yeah.
think that subconscious is your purpose in a way. Like you're not choosing to create those narratives. You're not choosing to think that the girl that you met and now are falling in love with is going to fulfill everything. It's just it's within. And
Mm,
and yeah,
yeah,
I just think
true.
that's purpose talking.
But then,
I have
okay,
no way to. I would love to know. Sorry, man. Yeah, I would love to know how or why I make these consistent decisions on social impact. I really haven't been able to explain myself, other than I sympathize with maybe uh, the situation in the country. And
mm,
there's certain things like that. But why did it start in the first place? I think it's upbringing and education, and then that really
yeah.
influences like a starting point.
Mm. So, okay. So, yeah. No, I agree, actually. I really agree. Like, I think subconscious thought and like, yeah, what's in that part of your mind which you don't have control? Because there are parts of your mind which you don't have control. Like, I often breathe without thinking, but it's going. I can't control the beat of my heart, you know?
Which, which shoe did you tie in the morning first?
Hey,
I
don't
love that
ask me
example, man.
that.
I love that
And I
example,
probably,
man.
I probably put on the same shoe first every time. And
As
I
the
probably buy
last,
that shoe
yeah,
first
yep,
every time.
yep,
I don't know.
yep.
And there, you know what? So yeah, I do agree that there's a large part of my life. And okay, so if you've ever read the book Thinking Fast and Slow by
Mm,
I
mm.
forgot his name. Uh, anyways,
Jamie's,
Daniel Kahneman, I think.
uh,
Anyways, he's a psychologist slash like economist or like a finance like a behavioral finance guy
mm,
whose background is mostly psychology, and
mhm,
he talks about the two systems of the mind. You got the system one and system two, and that's it's not the most accurate picture, but it's a very easy thing for us to grasp as people. Where you've got this system one where it does all the autonomous tasks,
mhm,
it's very suggestive. It infiltrates our daily life. It leads to lots of biases because it helps our mind function, you know? Like if you were to consciously think about every bodily function, everything that you need to think, bro, your mind would collapse. Like you'd break. So
yeah,
your mind's got this like other part of it that does all that stuff for you. And all the things that are in that mind, you could call that subconscious or whatever, influence purpose, you know, influences the way you think about people, the way you think about your goals, dreams, ambitions, and like things from your childhood are probably in there. you know, like your dad or mum caring for people, you know, because I think your dad's like really, oh, he
Mm.
works in education, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's in your psyche, man. That's in system one, and that's going to influence that purpose. But then there also is system two. You know, you
Hmm.
got
That's the
the,
balance you're talking about. Yeah.
and I think this is the balance. I think the balance just comes from our mind. Simply, it's not this. It's not too mystical, um, and it's not crazy. I think it's very simple in the fact that, you know, like we've got a subconscious mind that's suggestive and it's not perfect and it doesn't make the best rational decisions, but it's a part of who we are. And you can embrace that kind of side of yourself, but also knowing that your choices and the way that you process information in system two can change your purpose, can change the way you see the world. Because Daniel even writes that, you know, this, you can influence system one from the things that are going on in system two. And I think I know this really, I've come to know this as like a heart knowledge almost in my life, because I had really bad irritable bowel syndrome for a long time, you know,
Right.
3 years, you know, and it onset because of stress. And a lot of that stress was
Mm.
due to my faith changing and my purpose changing. And that
Mm.
was so tough, you know. And then you get the onset of this irritable bowel syndrome, and I got so anxious about it and depressed for a time of my life. Like it was so tough. Um, and I didn't, and it was so weird. Like I could be having a great day and I have one stressful thought and it's like my whole bowel changes. I'm like, whoa, this is such an
Mm.
overreaction. Why is this happening? I've changed system two. I'm trying to think positive. I'm, you know, doing all this stuff, but it's like my gut's gone. But just recently, like within the last month, I've realized the power of the subconscious mind and how there was a subconscious reaction going on, that I would think
Mm.
something and then some, like it's like a message shot down to my gut, bang, you should feel, your gut is all over the shop, your anxiety, bang, gone. Like it's like, whoa. And I've recently been doing hypnotherapy. And what hypnotherapy does, right, is it relaxes your current thinking state and relaxes your whole body so that your system one is more suggestible, that you can talk to it. You know, you can start having that influence on it. And so I've realized, I'm like, whoa, like I got to get into this almost flow state of relaxation to kind of start molding these
Mm.
these neural connections I've got in system
Subconscious.
one.
Yeah. Mm.
And man, I I I feel amazing. You know,
Oh,
like I can be stressed
it
out.
sounds so crazy, man.
Yeah, I can be stressed out and there's no pain in my gut anymore. Like, I mean, or minimal, you know. And I've not been doing this for long. There's more
But
journey.
do you do it by yourself or do you do it with a practitioner?
Well, I can do that with a practitioner, like I did once, but kind of waste the money. For $50, man, they absolutely charge me. I was like,
You know, I
whoa,
agree, man. The one time I meditated with you, absolutely wasted time,
what? Hey,
man. Nah, I'm
um,
kidding, man. I was just thinking about that one time I meditated with you, and it was
hmm,
actually incredible, and I haven't kept on doing it. But tell me more about this. Like,
yeah.
how long have you been doing it?
Well,
But
I've been
two
doing it for a week and a half or 2 weeks.
a week and a half.
Um,
Wow, man.
and I've already
And
noticed
it's proving to be like a
yeah,
big game changer.
yeah,
Wow,
huge, huge.
it's crazy, man.
And look, hypnotherapy, it feels like meditation, but it's subtly different to mindfulness. Like
Yeah,
mindful,
how is it different? How is it different?
yeah. So what I took you through, mindfulness meditation, that's a way to learn how to manage the thoughts of system two. You know, so you've got this
Mm.
active mind that's always moving, that's always thinking, that's learning how to relax that part of the mind. It's okay to have the thought you've just had. the mind's crazy, man. I think some fucking weird thoughts sometimes. Not gonna like sometimes you're in front of a highway and you're like, oh, what if I just jumped on? Like,
Yeah.
have you ever thought shit like that? Crazy
Yeah,
shit, man.
yeah, of course.
Like it's true. Everyone's got them, those impulsive thoughts, and but what happens is when you've got like really strong anxiety, right? Let's say you think that impulsive thought and it's like you latch onto it and you can't stop thinking about it. And it's this loop
Mm,
train, it's this, and we've all been there. We've all like, let's say you've I don't know, you just broke up with your girlfriend or whatever, you know, and then you go to your shower and you see the shampoo that she used to use, some weird shit, right?
mm.
You smell it and then you just start thinking, oh no, sniff test.
You and
You
your
give the
sniff
shampoo the
test, man.
sniff test, right? Okay, that's her, right? And then you just can't stop thinking about it, and it makes you feel sick, and it makes you feel your heart starts beating, or you start sweating, or whatever goes on. You know, meditation or mindfulness is the presence to understand. Okay, I'm thinking now. I'm gonna relax myself, and it's just a thought.
Mm,
I can move on and let that go.
mm,
Just let it
mm.
go. And it's
And then,
yeah,
no, I love how you took that book and you've inspired and given like tools to both sets of the mind. Side one being the hypnosis one. Is that what it's called?
yeah. I love how you have now interpreted what I said. Side one, hypnosis. Side two,
Side
mindfulness.
two, meditation. Those are good. No, I love it, man. I love it. Just through practical like tools which you can use, and then with hypnosis you relax the mind
Yeah.
and don't focus much on what you're thinking, but what you're feeling or oh,
Hypnosis is
it's a
weird.
weird one.
Yeah, it's a subtle difference. But
Sorry, does it have to do it at all with like dreams and like it sounds a lot like what Freud wanted to do by like entering your subconscious through your dreams because dreams are an expression of your subconscious.
look, I've never read Freud. Um, but yeah, it's heavily to do with the subconscious, but not dreams. I mean, maybe,
Do you
sure, why
slightly
not?
fall
Maybe
asleep?
that's a form of hypnosis that I'm not familiar with. It probably is,
Right.
I bet you Freud's a bloody hypnotist, mate, by trade. Um, just
But do
don't
you
know.
slightly fall asleep in the past 2 weeks? Do you slightly fall asleep in what
Me,
you're doing?
no, no, I don't.
Right.
I
You
think
relax.
I think some people might fall asleep.
Hmm.
Um,
And then it's just taking a nap. It's great.
yeah, essentially we're just taking a
It's just
10-minute nap. Maybe my gut issues were because I was just a little bit too tired, and I just
just need to sleep a bit, man.
I
That's it,
just
man. Why
sleep, bro.
overcomplicate it? Have you tried
Nah.
sleeping?
Nah. Um, no, I don't know. Like, I think it's just so you know how I like to think about this? It's like, you know, when you're really passionate about something or you're just so engaged in an activity and your mind is nowhere else but that activity, you know?
Can
Like,
I?
yeah, yeah, you can.
Yesterday, I was listening to this song. It's very like romantic, maybe dad song, like in Spanish. So it's very like
Wait,
poetic.
did you say romantic or dad song? What does dad song have to do with
But
romantic?
it's hard to describe. But at least in Chile, when you say dad song, you know exactly what you're talking about. You have Silvio
Okay.
Rodriguez. You have like artists that represent a certain generation.
Okay. Oh yeah,
And I
okay.
was
I know what
listening
you're
to
saying.
one of those yesterday's. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I we were driving towards the beach. That's where we are now. We were in traffic, and the song said we were owners of the night. We're dueños de la noche. We're owners of the night. And it just
Mm,
that popped into my head what you just said. Being like when you feel like so 100% in that moment. I
yeah.
felt it before. I stopped the song, faced my dad, told him, yo, like I loved that part. I love
Mm,
that part because I've felt before that I'm the owner of a moment, the owner of a night, and
yeah.
that's when you're just fully submerged.
Yeah.
The song was beautiful. Just the when you're with that one girl, I don't know, and you feel
Mm,
so well, so and then you just feel like you're in control of
mm,
and 100% there. So yeah,
yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And it's good that you understand that. And I think what that really is, or what I know, and I might be wrong, I'm not a psychologist, but I think that flow state really, in essence, is a state of intense relaxation where
mm,
you're so relaxed, you can be so engaged in that one thing that you're doing. Like,
mm,
that might not be entirely true because I think back to my exams, and I don't think I was relaxed, but I was pretty freaking engaged, and nothing. It felt like time was flying. So it might not be entirely true, but let's go with
yeah,
this relaxation definition. You know, um, yeah, you're really relaxed, and you just become incredibly focused. And the cool thing about hypnosis is that what it's doing is it's getting you in this state of relaxation, you know? So you're so
mm,
like what you do is like you imagine all your whole body being relaxed kind of thing. And it's like you're just so there, you know? And then what
you
happens is it's like you become suggestible. It's like system one, it's like it comes alive in the relaxation state. It's like I'm listening now because I know this is where you want to be, Xavier. You want to be in this state of relaxation, of like almost pure joy. Wow, I'm realizing a lot here. This is almost like the Taoism thing now. Like you're doing nothing and you're so relaxed in what you're doing. And there's this almost like reaction from your system one saying, like, this is where you need to be. It's almost like our current culture, our pursuit culture, takes us completely away from that state of relaxation and puts us in a state of stress. No wonder we've got an epidemic of chronic stress and like sadness that is attached to that. Sorry, these are that we just
no,
deviated, but like that was just I
bro,
just
Chavi, we are so this is the this episode's been like we've been high the whole time, but like, but
it's a madre,
um,
man.
I love them, man. You just connected it back to the first thing we talked about, and you know how I'm about to connect everything you just said.
Go hit me.
It seems like you've just connected life. You connected so many
Dude,
things.
we're so high. We're so
And I recently watched half of a movie.
okay.
Not any movie, but the one that won the Oscar for best movie.
All right.
Everything, everything, everywhere all at once. I believe it's called.
Okay.
And I think, or my interpretation of it, or how I enjoyed the movie was, I thought it talked about this. Have you watched it, man?
Nah, man. Enlighten me.
Bro, I think you should watch it first of all. And I interpret it
Wait, do we
as
need spoilers? Do we need spoilers?
no, no, no. I'm just let's just talk about the title. Everything,
Okay.
everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
That's what you mentioned. Like a chronic stress,
Mm.
chronic, what did you say? What'd you say?
I don't know.
A,
I
a
forgot.
chronic state of stress, the chronic state of stress of like caring about everything everywhere all at once and like not being able to enjoy hypnosis. You know,
Mm.
I think if you watch that movie in that tone, like having that in mind, I saw it as a call to, you know, we care too much about everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Um, when sometimes there's um other other ways of interpreting and enjoying and living the moment. like the ones we've
Yeah.
talked about, hypnosis, just not like being good with just relaxing yourself, not overstimulation, just
Hmm.
like,
So, Santi, man, are we slowly concluding that the state of relaxation is where we need to be? The stress is just, we need to avoid that. You know,
mm,
I mean, I don't like to use the word avoid because then it gives weight to that negative emotion. You know, let's just say, we don't want to engage in stressful activities. Um, but we want to be continually finding things that lets us enter that state of relaxation. And then that raises the point, like, what gives you that state of relaxation? Like, what do you really love? And can you
mm.
change that?
So lovely questions to to leave the note on. Is that how the sentence goes?
Yeah,
A lovely note to end it with. Good questions, man.
I think so. I'm actually really happy with where we've come. That's great.
Yeah, man. No, no, and make sure to watch that movie. I think it's gonna. Uh, my parents hated it, but I think I think it's because
It sucked, man.
um that
Like,
no, they really hated it, but I think it's due to they're not caring about everything everywhere all at once. I think it's more of a our generation thing with the phones and shit.
hmm,
I think well, there's a movie recommendation as well to finish
yeah, I know.
the episode with.
Oh, let's do that. In the title, we'll be like, I don't know, like Chat GPT or whatever, and then recommend watch this.
Yeah, that's the two topics, man.
Yeah.
We didn't use Chat GPT once, but I'm sure I'm going to be using it to ask it about the Taoism, Taoism,
Taoism.
which I'm really interested by. Now that you've said it's an extremist perspective, when it's all you've mentioned is you just live in the moment. But
But it's like
I'm gonna look
the weird thing about Taylor, it's like the complete avoidance of activity almost. So it's like you're trying to do as less as possible to sustain
right.
life.
It's like
Like,
another extreme, right?
like I wouldn't be on this podcast. No way. You're you're too much for me, bro. You're too much for me, man.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds just like another like extremist, but
Hey, sorry,
but
I was thinking, you go.
yeah, no. I was gonna say just like how David Goggins might sound extremist. There's definitely some takeaways every time.
Absolutely.
What
Bro,
are you gonna say?
David Goggins would hate Taoism, man.
Imagine, man. Just
DG.
imagine, man. Give him a book about Taoism.
David Goggins like, get hard. Taoism be like, no.
You start like bench pressing with like Taoism books on him, man.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Oh, okay. This has been a freaking great episode. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you really enjoyed. And
Yeah,
if you
thanks
guys
everyone.
also have any thoughts on, success, purpose, any other thought paths that we haven't explored, which you know what, there's probably so many, please let us know. We'd love
Yeah,
to.
love it. Any
Okay.
other topics as well?
Yeah.
Everything's welcome. Everything's welcome.
Yeah.
Have a good have a good weekend, man.
Yeah.
Have a good
Enjoy your
weekend
stuff.
and have a good day to anyone who's listening. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.